In our day and age, it seems like there's so many different types of expenses, and even though we make more money and incorporate these new expenses into our lifestyle, we look at our accounts and just can't figure out why we can't save the amount of money or a certain figure that we once thought we could have previously. We start to notice that we're living in a paycheck to paycheck mentality, and all the vacations and all the future journeys that you once thought were possible tend to end up slipping away from you and out of reach through your fingers because you just can't understand why the amount of money that you need to save is so far away when you look at your expenses and your income. What's going on YouTube, and welcome back to the channel. Today, this Friday, I'm going over with you my top 8 tips on avoiding money saving disasters. If you learn anything from this video, as always, make sure you hit the like button. I greatly appreciate it. Let's get into it. Now, I'd say the first thing to cover is that if you don't already have a high yield savings account or a high interest savings account, you need to open one as soon as possible. If you haven't already seen my last video talking all about this and the best high yield interest savings accounts for 2020, I recommend you go watch that video. I'll put a card up above so you can go and see that video. A reason why you want to open an online savings account is because you want to, first of all, earn compound interest on the money you're currently not using. This is something that brick and mortar banks currently don't offer, like Chase, Wells Fargo, and Bank of America, where you actually get a good return on the money just for parking it at the bank. You also want to get into the habit of separating your money from your checking account so you don't have money readily available to just go and spend however you want to. Putting it in a savings account reinforces that you need to budget and be able to save for a brighter future. Also, if you don't have an online savings account, you're missing saving bonuses like the one that Discover just had. Discover currently just ran something that if you put in or deposited $15,000, you could get a bonus of up to $150. That one ended on February 17th because that is the day that you had to transfer the money in, and they pay out the bonus by March 2nd. So you missed that one, but check out my list down below from Bankrate's best high yield savings accounts and go find another bank that's also offering a sign on or sign up bonus. The next tip is you definitely gotta make an emergency fund. You need at least 3 to 6 months worth of expenses saved up for anything unexpected that may come up in your life, such as losing a job, having a major car repair, or you have a major home renovation that you didn't expect to do, such as your plumbing pipes burst. Then you need to have money to be able to cover these expenses that take priority and precedence in your life. Many other unexpected expenses could fall into this category, but the moral of the story is you absolutely just must make sure that you have a emergency fund. Now, if you have more than 6 months worth saved up in your emergency fund, then you can now start looking to invest that money, because shortly over time you'll realize that you can't save your way to retirement. You're going to have to find a way to make this money work for you. And what better way to do that to invest it in some type of thing in the stock market or real estate in order to turn your returns much higher than 2% on bank account interest. Remember that you always want your money working for you, so use the online savings account as a great parking spot just to keep up with inflation year by year, but also be looking to invest your money as something that's paying you a higher return. The third tip is you're just not paying yourself first. You are paying other people, you are paying your expenses, you're paying other things that don't really matter in your life, but you're not investing in yourself. Make sure that you set up recurring deposits to your bank accounts, which should be an online savings account if you don't already have one. This is going to ensure that you pay yourself first and you always have money to save for something that you're going to need. This will also ensure that you don't just spend all your money and have nothing left over, so that investing or saving is on the back burner. Make sure you keep this in the forefront of your mind, and what better way to do this than setting up recurring deposits if you forget to pay yourself first. And as always, remember to invest in your health and your education. Remember, you are the best investment that you can put your money into, whether this be getting certified in something or going to a trade school or just continuing your education to keep yourself competitive and earn a higher salary. Make sure you do those things because those are important, and that's where you should be spending the majority of your money on anyway. You can also use an app like Mint to cover and track your expenses if you don't want to do this yourself. You can track investments, bank accounts, different credit cards, and this is all automated. It'll put it automatically into different categories that you can specify later. But the whole point is that if you're looking for a way to automate this, then you can definitely find an app on the store that will be able to accommodate you. And on top of all of these things, it offers low balance alerts, bill payment reminders, and also free credit scores. And what's better than you being able to monitor your credit score for free? Now, the next tip is that you got to make a budget if you don't already have one. As I just mentioned, you can use different things like Mint if you're having trouble getting your budget started, or you're having trouble being able to just section out which categories you need. Automating this will keep you on track because you'll receive email notifications and text notifications, and it makes you accountable for the money that you spend because you will get alerted every time you spend that money. Budgeting also forces you to map out your objectives. You've got to have a goal to be able to stay motivated. If you can't stay motivated, then there's no reason for you to stick to your budget. You must find motivation. This also helps ensure that you don't spend more money than you have or money that you think you have. This is great if you also use credit cards as well. Budgeting will keep you on track because all your dollars should be accounted for in some form or fashion so that you just don't spend anything extra that you haven't seen come in your account in the first place. Having a budget will also help you figure out what bad spending habits you have, what you need to monitor closely, and what things that you can possibly cut out what you're spending money on in order to successfully be able to meet the criteria of your budget. Now, this goes without saying. The next tip is if you're at a dead-end job, then consider different alternatives in making money. Of course, staying at this job will get you nowhere over time in life because you're already capped out, and this is especially important if you're working somewhere in the gig economy where it's based primarily on how many hours you work. You've got to focus on getting a skill or some type of trade that makes you competitive in a market that people want your skill sets. This may even mean for you switching jobs because there's just no way or room for you to improve at your current location. Consider investing in some type of schooling or getting credentials or learning some type of new skill that'll be able to get you a raise or get you a bonus or be able to move you up maybe to a new promotion. Now, if you have absolutely no time to do anything else at all because the hours you work at your current job are just so crazy, then you've got to weigh out the options and consider whether or not it's still beneficial for you to give all your time to a current job or company than as opposed to thinking about your future or where you want to be 5 to 10 years from now. Sometimes there's not always a clear path forward. Sometimes you might have to take a side step or take a step back to realize certain things to be able to move yourself forward, and it's all part of the natural process of improving yourself and getting what you need and getting it at a much smarter pace. The next tip is you're not investing, and you absolutely should be investing. You absolutely must invest in something to be able to build your wealth over time. This can be in the stock market, doing dividend investing, holding index funds, doing trading, options trading, anything of that nature, or buying a piece of real estate, fixing it up, bringing it back up to market value, and making a profit off of it in equity. Saving up your money and not doing anything with it and just hoarding it is not an ideal way to grow your money over time. You've got to have this money working for you. You've got to find some kind of investment to get a higher return on your money, and there's a little bit of risk involved. However, this should not come as anything surprising to you. This is why you should already have an emergency fund before you start investing. You need to find different ways to bring in passive income and have more income streams come in continuously than opposed to just having something based from your job. Don't just sit on the sidelines and wait to get in. If you haven't started already, remember, you've just got to get started. Getting started is the hardest part and the most time-consuming part. You've just got to get in, and once you get in, you can learn over time as you go. Experience is the best teacher. Now, if you're working a W-2 type job and you've got benefits and they offer a 401k, consider maxing out your 401k each year, especially if your employer is doing contribution matching. This is free money for you, and your money is pre-tax dollars anyway. If you haven't invested before, this is one of the easiest ways for you to get started saving up for your retirement. Once you've got extra money in your pocket from doing all the other steps above, let's say you've got a new job and you've got a raise or you've got a promotion, and now you're making a whole set of extra income, well, here comes this thing called lifestyle inflation. Your wants over time start turning into needs, and things that used to be luxuries for you back some years ago are now things that you absolutely need, and you've convinced yourself that you need these things. Doing this can cause you to stay in a state of living paycheck to paycheck and never being able to get your financial freedom because you chose to consistently inflate your lifestyle as time goes on. For instance, you start looking at what your peers have, you got a new job, and you've noticed that everybody there drives a BMW. You might be inclined now, being the oddball, to go ahead and get a BMW because that's what everybody in your position drives as well. Now, I'm not saying don't get fancy things or get fancy cars. There are ways for you to do it without breaking the budget that are actually smart investments that you can do. If you want to learn those things, make sure you subscribe down below how you can get expensive cars for less than you pay for a Toyota Corolla on the street. But anyways, back to lifestyle inflation and lifestyle creep. You can fight this by sticking to your budget and gradually giving yourself increases slowly over time after you've analyzed what you need and where your situation has currently taken you. Now, it's okay to give yourself more money in your budget over time. Just make sure you don't go spending the money like crazy because you just got it. Make sure you account for that money the same way you've been accounting for all the other money that is in your account, and adjust your budget accordingly and proportionately. Now, the last tip I'm going to leave you with is that you should be price comparing online when you buy something. Price comparing lets you see the best rates based on a given product on multiple websites, so you can make sure that you are finding the best possible choice that you can do at that time. Sometimes the prices for retailers are different in stores versus online because there's certain overheads and criteria that needs to be met, but over time you can be sure by doing research whether or not it's smarter to buy something online versus than in store. Price comparison also stops you from doing impulse buying because you're not physically at a store to go and just grab something and add it to your cart. You've got to actually look at the item, and you've got to be accountable for actually clicking the checkout button and going through all the steps. You can also use free browser extensions like Honey. Honey is one of the more popular ones that tries to find the best coupon codes when you check out. You can also use drop lists, which work on sites like Amazon that saves the products anywhere from 30 to 120 days. You also get an email sent to you when a price drops past the point that you set, making sure that you definitely got a good deal on the product you were looking for. You can also earn free money via Honey Gold. When you shop at one of their participating stores, you earn a percentage back in Honey Gold, which you can use for things like redeeming a gift card once you have at least 1,000 Honey Gold points. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button and you also hit the notification bell so you get alerts when I post every Friday. Also hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed any of the content in this video, and also find me on Twitter where I post about stocks and real estate daily. Thanks again, you guys, for watching this video, and make sure you stay tuned for more bits, tips, and tricks on how to manage your personal finances and get closer to your financial freedom. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys next time.